The captain who stayed last. Responsibility first. Have you ever wondered what true leadership really means? Is it about giving orders, sitting at the top, and enjoying the privileges of power? Or is it about something deeper, something that defines the very heart of responsibility? Today I want to share with you a story that carries one of the most powerful lessons in leadership and in life. It is a story about courage, about sacrifice, and about what it truly means to put others before yourself. It is the story of the captain who stayed last. It was a bright morning in the Atlantic Ocean. The sun reflected on the calm waves, and passengers on a great passenger ship laughed, dined, and enjoyed music. They trusted the ship. They trusted the crew. Above all, they trusted their captain. The captain of this ship was not just a man in uniform. He was someone who carried decades of experience, countless voyages, and above all, a deep sense of duty. He knew something that many leaders forget: a leader's first responsibility is not to himself, but to his people. On that day, he walked across the deck, greeting families, nodding politely at the wealthy, and gently smiling at children who waved at him. To most, he was just a man of authority. But inside, he carried the weight of every life on board. But fate has its way of testing the strength of every leader. That night, when the stars filled the sky and music echoed in the halls, a sudden sound shattered the peace. It was loud. It was sharp. It was unforgettable. The ship had struck something massive. Fear spread like wildfire. Passengers screamed. The ship trembled, and deep inside, water began rushing through the cracks. The crew rushed to their stations. Orders flew across the deck. Panic was everywhere. In such moments, when danger threatens, the true character of people is revealed. Some ran in fear. Some tried to save only themselves. But one man remained steady. The captain. He stood tall, his voice firm, his presence unshaken. "Prepare the lifeboats," he ordered. Women and children first. Even as chaos consumed the ship, he remained a pillar of calm strength. And in that moment, responsibility had a face. As the icy waters of the ocean rose higher, the number of lifeboats became painfully clear. There were not enough. Not every passenger would survive. The captain knew this. He also knew something else. If he wanted, he could take one of those lifeboats and live. No one would stop him. Some might even beg him to do it. But leadership is not about saving yourself. It is about staying until the very last person is safe. It is about showing responsibility not in words, but in action. One crew member, terrified and desperate, approached him. "Captain, there's still space on the last boat. Please, come with us." "You've done enough." The captain looked at him calmly and shook his head. "No," he said firmly. "My duty is here. A captain must stay until the end." Those words carried more weight than the steel of the ship itself. The water was rising fast. The ship tilted, and passengers cried out in fear as lifeboats slowly descended into the freezing dark ocean. Everywhere you looked, people clung to hope, to life, to the chance of survival. But in the middle of the storm, there was one constant sight. The captain. He moved from boat to boat, checking ropes, calming children, guiding mothers, helping the elderly. He gave no speech of heroism. He made no announcement of sacrifice. He simply did his duty. And in doing so, he showed that responsibility is not about words, it is about action. As the final lifeboat was lowered, one passenger cried out, "Captain, please, come with us." Her voice trembled with fear, but her plea came from gratitude. She had seen him save her family, and she wanted him to save himself too. But the captain only smiled gently. "No, you must live. That is my order." His voice carried no anger, no regret. Only calm acceptance. He knew what he was choosing. And he knew why. Because leadership means being the last to leave. Leadership means carrying responsibility until the end. The lifeboat touched the water. It drifted away slowly, filled with lives saved by his choices. And on the deck, the captain remained, standing tall even as the ship groaned beneath him. Minutes later, the ocean claimed its victory. The great ship disappeared into the depths, swallowed by darkness and silence. But even as the waves closed above it, one truth shined brighter than any star that night. The captain had kept his word. He stayed until the very last. He gave his life not because he had to, but because responsibility demanded it. And that is what made his story unforgettable. Because while the ship was lost, his example, his legacy, remained unsinkable. It became a story whispered across oceans, told in sailor songs, and remembered by generations. So what do we learn from this story? We learn that true responsibility means putting others before yourself. We learn that a leader's greatness is not measured in how many people serve him, but in how many people he serves. Think about it. Every family has a captain. Every business has a captain. Every community has a captain. And in our own lives, we too carry that role, sometimes for our children, sometimes for our teams, sometimes for those who silently look up to us. The question is not whether we wear a uniform or carry a title. The question is, when the storm comes, will we stand strong? Will we take responsibility first? And so, remember this, a captain is not defined by the ship he sails, but by the responsibility he carries. Be the leader who stays until the last. Be the person others can trust when the storm begins. Because in the end, true leadership is responsibility first.